Big Tom Cardenas is also referred to as Pops. And when I was growing up, probably fourth, going into fifth grade, Pops found the Lord. And I didn't know that he was lost, but I guess that Tom Cardenas actually found him. But this took us into a crazy time in our lives. My brother Rob and I, we went from, never going, like never even sniffing church before, to going on Sunday morning, Sunday evening, on Wednesday, and every event that we could possibly go to. And this almost felt like a life sentence to something that we didn't want to be at. We didn't understand it. And it was just like kind of thrust upon us. The cool thing is if you enter my mama was like, she definitely went with us and she was there, but she just always emphasized a relationship as opposed to all the rituals and routines and all these things. But as we went through, it was nuts, because if I would have known that all the things and all the principles that God was, when he was calling us in that time, even though it was a call that we didn't really want to have and we didn't want to be around, if I would have realized that all he was doing, all God was doing is saying, like, I just want you to come and be around, and I want you to focus on me. And if you focus on me, I'll take care of all the other stuff that you're going through, the challenges that you have, the stresses that you have, all these things, I'll take those on me, and I'll just give you freedom to be you. And I saw this the other day, because I got a chance to be able to spend some time with my buddy James Dixon, who some of you guys know. And if you don't know him, go and check him out. He's incredible. He's the absolute motivator. And I got a chance to be able to introduce him at a Christian film festival. And when I introduced him, I kind of laid the foundation for his story, set him up, and gave him third-party credibility. And as I did that, what happened was my buddy James got to walk up on the stage and just be free to be himself. And he laughed more. He was connected because he didn't have the weight of this message that he thought he had to be able to project or deliver. And it was amazing to be able to see the audience. They were completely different too. They were just almost relaxed. They already knew who this guy was. They knew what he had accomplished. And when he went up, he got to laugh, be free. And imagine today, no matter where you're at, imagine if you could be free. Imagine if you could just walk free. If you could walk free from the things and the weight that's sitting on your shoulder right now, that you could just walk free and you could just be you. And you could just be yourself in the situation without worrying about what people thought about or what was going on or what you were going to accomplish, but you just got to be you. Imagine how bright your light would shine. And what I noticed was in Proverbs 13, was that God was just saying, like, he wanted to give us the tools for us to be able to just walk free. And it was incredible to me, enlightening to me, and I'm just excited to be able to share it with you on this episode of Inchstones. So why don't we get this party started?
Nothing more on my mind. I got to shine, so every day I grind. Work in the morning, work in the evening. We's achieving, cause we believing. It's for certain, we put the work in. We ain't stopped just because it's hurting. Right before your eyes, so it's coming to no surprise. The takeover is televised. Over and over and over again. Make no mistake, we continue to win. Defeat never known, cause I will not lose. They wanna mimic my moves, but can't walk in my shoes.
What if you did something and it wasn't perfect? What if you jumped out and tried it and it sucked? Well, it was interesting because the last episode, if you notice it, if you guys went through and you watched Proverbs 12, which was episode 526, you'll see some choppiness in the video and things like that. And, it was one of those things, but that's the risks that you take when you jump out and you do, as opposed to just thinking about it. And for me, it's been a little tough because I want things to be exactly perfect sometimes before I even start. But as my friend Sean Finnegan had told me, it's a lot of times the start that stops us, right? And being free to just try it. If it works, then continue on with it. If it sucks, write it down so you don't do it again. And I find that this was a freedom that was allotted to me once I started to understand that. And what happens with freedom? Well, that's the whole message today in Proverbs 13, freedom. What happens with freedom? People start to have ideas. If they're free to think, they have ideas. That creates innovation. It creates the ability to adapt immediately. It creates processes and procedures or systems to be able to be adapted. It watches cultures get lit on fire. You will see productivity go through the roof when people are free to be able to be themselves and walk in that. And how can we be free? That's the crazy thing is, like, I thought a relationship with God was completely different based off of my pops when he found the Lord. I thought, man, I got to do all these things. This is just a life sentence to something that I do not like. But what God was telling me yesterday as I was sitting in my alone time is, son, it's not about all the things that you have to do and all the constriction that you're going to put on your life by spending time with me. It's the freedom that you will have when you spend time with me. And so in Proverbs 13, which is the corresponding proverb for the corresponding day, we do these inchstones, right? And so an inchstone, as opposed to looking at the milestone, we just look at the inchstone. And I want to thank you. I want to thank you, Stacy. Stacy is out there, and you are absolutely unreal. The comments that you make, they speak so much life to me, and I want to tell you how much you mean to me. Also, Andrea, I just met her, Andrea Williams. Huge shout out to her. Jimmy Barbour, even though you can't come to the Vibe Room this time, I want to tell you that, you're an incredible inspiration. Your family is too. And I look forward to meeting them all. We do have the tickets for the Vibe Room. You could click the link and you could check the tickets. I believe we're almost sold out. We just released them actually today, and they're already almost sold out. We got maybe about 5 tickets that are left, and then it'll be sold out after that. So that's November 9th, the live version of the podcast. And if you haven't bought the book already, go to the Amazon and click the book or click the link, buy the book, The Vibe. It's 117 pages. It's not based off of theory. It's based off of, we built a multi-million-dollar company with 19 to 24-year-olds at the helm. And then we wrote the process after we already did it. And it takes you through 5 little areas, but it's wrapped in the vibe. It's not the energy that you bring into the room, but the way in which people feel when you leave, and that's the vibe. And so check that out on Amazon, and then grab some bling. It adds moisture, strength, and shine, has no weight to it. It's bling shine serum, and it smells like vacation. Every woman needs a little bling in their life. It doesn't replace anything, but it enhances everything. That is all the station identification that we have today. And so let's jump into Proverbs 13 and verse 1. I talked about listen to your parents. I had a men's group recently, and I said this. I said, everybody has the perfect parents. And the guy was like, wait a second. My parents acted this way and that way and all these things. And I was like, well, they were perfect for you. And he said, I want to challenge that. And I said, well, imagine God will either give you the perfect parents for you to watch and do exactly what they do, or give you the perfect parents and have you do exactly what they didn't do. And so every one of us has the perfect scenario in our life because God is big enough to have us anywhere he wants us to be, and where we're at is exactly where we need to be. And so that's what I want to encourage you with, is just listen to your parents. If your parents were boneheads and telling you that you weren't anything, listen to them. Listen to them, and listen to the way that you felt. Listen to those things. And then guess what? You just got a blueprint on what not to do as you move forward with your family. But also, too, remember that your parents did the best they could with what they had at the particular time. And so when we look at it that way, we step out of the judgment, because honestly, none of us are going to be perfect at any time. So listen to your parents. In verse 2, 3, and 17, it referred to speaking life. I use these words all the time, and people are like, wait a second, what is speaking life? Well, speaking life is using somebody's name and calling out something specific that they did for you or that inspired you. And I tell you, this will light a culture on fire. This will light a relationship on fire. I did this with my buddy, Coach Gary. I love you. And I called him out in front of his wife. I said, when he comes to men's group, when he comes home, he's going to have a letter for you, to his wife. And I said to his wife, I said, he's going to have a letter for you. And he's like, what do I write in the letter? I said, write a couple things that are very specific that have happened in the last couple of days, write them down, and then deliver her a handwritten letter in your penmanship, however good or bad it is, and just watch. And that's what we call speaking life, because there's only two things that most people, or that people want, that human beings want. They want to be seen and they want to be heard. And if you can tell them the things that they're doing, it shows them that you see it. When you could say their name and you recite something back to them specific that they've done, they feel like they've been heard. And when you do those two things, it's amazing what'll start to happen. So speak life, speak life, speak life. Even right now, I challenge you, stop the video or stop the podcast, just put it on pause, make a call to your brother, your sister, your wife, your kids, whatever it is, and just use their name when they get on the phone. Judy, just want to let you know that yesterday you really inspired me by doing X or Y or whatever it is. But please don't make it general, because it won't hit. It won't do anything. In verse 5, 18, and 24 of Proverbs 13, it asked this question. Let's see. No, not there. We're going to go to verse 4. Sorry. We're going to come back to that one. Number 4 is, are you taking action, or are you simply in motion? And this was a tough one. This one I learned from my friend Jen Moses. She's owns Style and Grace Salon in Las Vegas, #1 salon in Las Vegas. If you live in Las Vegas and you're not going there, you're doing yourself a disservice. Her and her partner Shauna Martin have one of the most amazing businesses. And the reason why I know it is because they bought it from myself and my wife and then have taken it to another level. It's amazing. But she would always be the example of this. Are you taking action on something, meaning that you're moving the needle, or are you simply in motion? And I get busy all the time, and I get myself busy. So I sometimes don't have to take action. But it's amazing what I learned from my buddy Greg Reed when his son had a traumatic brain injury just recently. It was amazing what he was able to do in a very short amount of time, because he was willing to take action and be very, very specific and be very, very efficient with it. So in verse 4, it asked that question. In verse 5, 18, and 24, that's where we're at, is it asked the question, what are your standards? What are your standards? Because if you list off your standards, generally you'll be able to figure out your results. And when you look at, even do it backwards, look at your results and then line them up with your standards. If they're not in line, those aren't really your standards. And the reason why I say this is because commitment eliminates options. Once you're committed to something, it eliminates the options of anything contrary to that commitment. And I learned that from a guy that told me, he said, I've been married for 45 years and people ask me all the time why or how. And he said, commitment eliminates options. When I committed to my wife, it eliminated the option of any other woman in my life except to her. And there were certain things that he put in line, and there were standards that he had, and that's where it was. So what are your standards? In verse 6 and 21, who are you when no one else is in the... who are you when nothing is on the line? Who are you when nothing is on the line? This is what we call integrity. It's the same in the dark as you are in the light. So when the light is shined on you, sometimes people will act a certain way, and then when the light is not on them, they act a certain way. And just ask yourself, are those in line? The more that they're in line, the more integrity that you'll have. And when your integrity is high, what will start to happen is opportunity will be plentiful. In verse 7 through 8, 11, 22, it talks this way, is big hat and no cattle. My buddy Craig out of Texas told me this. He said there's a lot of people who have a lot of talk and just don't have anything behind it. In Texas, we call them big hat and no cattle. And so what he said is work a lot and talk very little. And if we want to be able to create freedom in our lives, think about that. Listen to your parents. Speak life. Are you taking action, or are you simply in motion? What are your standards? Who are you when nothing is on the line? And do you have a big hat and no cattle, or do you have a lot of cattle and a little hat? Do you do a lot of work and a little talk, or do you do a lot of talk and a little bit of work? Now, it's tough on me because my work is actually talking. So I was looking at this. I was like, God, are you judging me today? In verse 9, freedom allows your light to shine and wisdom brings freedom. Freedom allows your light to shine, and wisdom brings freedom. Now, wisdom, the beginning of wisdom is the fear of God. Fear of God is just the respect of God. To respect God, you got to check his action or his words and his actions. Are they in line? That means that you'll respect him. That's the fear of God. That will be the beginning of wisdom. The beginning of wisdom then will bring freedom. And freedom allows your light to shine. So if you want your light to shine, you'll be free. If you want to be free, you'll seek wisdom. If you want wisdom, then you'll seek God. Right? So it's amazing the way that these things roll down and the way that God has wordplay. It's incredible. In verse 10, 13, 14, and 20, listen to wise counsel. This is this is a simple one, but, listen to wise counsel and then apply it. Not only listen to it, but apply it. In verse 12, create, foster, and protect hope through love. Create, foster, protect hope through love. People could die from a crushed spirit. So just be very, very conscious of that. In verse 16, stop, think, and act. Stop, think, then act. Stop, think, then act. If you listen to the last episode, episode 526, I did not do this. I didn't stop, think, and then act. I acted based off of my emotions. And, I was at a flag football game and I was mad and I thought that I was right and I just was an idiot and then, probably disgraced my family in the town and, all those things. But I didn't stop, think, and act. I acted and then I thought about the action and then I didn't even stop. I just was like, I'm justifying. So learn from me. And as we go on to verse 19 is this, Inchstones celebrated become milestones. Inchstones celebrated will become milestones. That's in verse 19. And when I first started Inchstones, people would always talk about the bigger picture. You got to have this huge vision. It's good to have a big vision, but I could tell you this, anything that you've ever planned in your life, most likely it doesn't work out. It doesn't work out exactly the way that you want it to. And any person with a business plan, it never works out exactly. It's a lot of mistakes along the way, getting kicked in the head. You make the mistakes, you write them down, they become your systems. Those systems help you to be able to succeed. But if you stick to the system and love the system and manage the people, you're going to get in trouble. So love the people, manage the system, but the system comes from all the people screw ups. So if you give them freedom to be able to screw up, then they can write them down, make new systems, make your culture on fire. And then that'll bring the productivity, that'll bring the innovation, that'll bring the ability to adapt immediately. And that's where your company or your relationships will all begin to grow. You see, as we finish up, is freedom is abundant through the pursuit of wisdom. And we all know where we can find that. Freedom is abundant through the pursuit of wisdom, and we all know where we could get that. I think one of the greatest gifts that you could ever give to someone is to be free. And when I'm around my friends, when I'm around my buddy Greg Reed, when I'm around my best friend Will, when I'm around my brother, when I'm around James Dixon, Andrea Williams, you helped me to be free the other day. You spoke so much life into me. Bishop, you are incredible. Jimmy, the other day, you spoke life to me. At the Vibe Room, I've got people that are around me, Baron Baptiste, Janae Thompson, Keith Hale, that are going to be there. We've got Curtis Nieder that is going to be playing, bluegrass music. I mean, it's going to be amazing. They're going to free me up to just be myself because they are doing their thing and I don't have to do that. And what God was saying at the end here is he wants to give us the tools to experience freedom. And the main tool is not to focus on all these things, even the things that I just listed off, is just to focus on him. And when we focus on him, then he'll continually give us those tools. Because if we fear God, which is a respect to him, he'll give us wisdom, and wisdom will bring freedom. And freedom will bring light. And we all want to let that light shine. So I want to thank you so much for being on this episode of Inchstones. It's been Proverbs 13, the corresponding proverb for the corresponding day. We've also got the Vibe Room, so stay tuned for that. You could click the link. You could get your tickets now. By the end of tonight, it will be sold out. So check that out. It's in Salt Lake City at the Edison House, and that is November 9th. Sunny Days is our sponsor, and these guys are incredible. Even though I'm not supposed to be talking about them right now, but they're incredible people. It's going to be a room full of unbelievable humans. Not only the people on stage with the lights on them, but the person sitting next to you can literally change your life at the Vibe Room. It's an event that you can't afford to miss. So I want you to have a phenomenal day. My name is Kelly Cardenas, and this has been Inchstones, and I'm officially off the hot seat. Peace, love, and soul.
Nothing more on my mind. I got to shine, so every day I grind. Work in the morning, work in the evening. We's achieving, cause we believing. It's for certain, we put the work in. We ain't stopped just because it's hurting. Right before your eyes, so it's coming to no surprise. The takeover is televised. Over and over and over again. Make no mistake, we continue to win. Defeat never known, cause I will not lose. They wanna mimic my moves, but can't walk in my